less you say, the more they wonder. The less you show, the more they chase. Most people walk through life begging to be seen, heard, understood, like their worth depends on how much access they give away.
But here's the raw truth. The more available you are, the less you're valued. Constantly explaining, reacting, proving, it doesn't earn you respect, it drains you. And still we keep doing it, hoping someone will finally get it. But what if the real power wasn't in being understood, but in being untouchable? Not cold, not distant, just whole. There's a shift that happens when you stop responding to everything, when you stop playing the emotional rescue game, when you learn that silence can be louder than words. That shift, it changes how people treat you, it changes what you tolerate, it changes your entire life. And today we're not just talking about setting boundaries, we're talking about becoming unreachable, not because you're hiding, but because you've risen. Stay with me. This might just be the most important mindset shift you ever make. You start answering too fast, replying before you've even processed how you feel. You over-explain, hoping to be understood, hoping they'll see your heart. But they don't. They just see someone who's always available, always open, always giving. And slowly, they stop listening. Your words lose weight. Your presence loses value. Not because you're not worthy, but because you gave too much, too often, too easily. They don't have to earn your energy. They don't have to respect your time. You made yourself easy to reach and in the process, hard to respect. People learn your patterns. They learn that if they push just right, you'll fold. If they guilt trip you, you'll stay. If they disappear, you'll chase. And that's when you stop being a person and start being a reaction, a role, a routine. You're no longer living, you're performing. But what if you didn't respond? What if you pulled back? What would they do without your constant access? You don't need to vanish to be powerful. You just need to stop offering pieces of yourself to people who haven't earned them. Pulling back isn't running away, it's choosing you. For the first time, maybe ever. It's realizing that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your time, your heart. Especially not those who treat your presence like background noise. You can still love, still care, still show up, but on your terms, not as a reflex, not as an apology. You start to move with intention. You speak when it matters. You respond when it serves you. And in that shift, you reclaim something sacred, your energy. Carl Jung once said the greatest tragedy is to become what others want instead of who you truly are. Becoming unattainable is rejecting that tragedy. It's standing tall in your stillness, in your boundaries, and finally choosing power over performance. You don't owe the world your noise. Silence isn't weakness, it's precision. It's knowing that not every battle deserves your sword, not every provocation deserves your voice. Some people only want your reaction to feel powerful. Don't give it to them. Let them sit in the discomfort of not knowing where they stand with you. Let them wonder. When you speak less, your words start to weigh more. When you stop explaining, people lean in. Silence creates gravity. And those who are used to controlling you through chaos, through guilt, pressure, or manipulation will crumble when their tactics meet your calm. It's not coldness, it's wisdom. You've learned that peace is louder than shouting, and mystery is more magnetic than confession. You don't pull away to punish, you pull away to protect. Because the more you guard your energy, the more powerful your presence becomes. Silence doesn't mean you're gone, it means you're in control. They test you again and again, not because they're evil, but because they've learned you'll move. Say the right thing, show just enough emotion, and you'll bend, you'll explain, you'll give in. That's how the world works. It pushes to see where your edges are, and if it finds none, it keeps pushing. Until you're stretched so thin you barely recognize yourself. But something shifts the moment you stop reacting. The moment you pause instead of explaining, step back instead of chasing, suddenly they don't know what to do with you. The usual script breaks, their control slips. Holding on feels safe until it starts to suffocate you. You grip the relationship, the routine, the role, thinking it gives you stability. But deep down, you know it's draining you. It's not love anymore, it's obligation. Not growth, it's fear of change. And still you cling because letting go feels like failure. But what if it's not? What if letting go is how you rise? You can't reach higher ground carrying dead weight. You can't step into your future dragging your past behind you. The truth is, anything that constantly demands you to shrink isn't meant for your next chapter. You're not supposed to stay where you're tolerated. You're supposed to rise where you're valued. Letting go isn't loss, it's space. Space for something better, fuller, real. The version of you that's waiting on the other side of release, that's who you were meant to be. But you'll only meet them when you finally loosen your grip, like trying to breathe with a hand pressed over your mouth. Eventually, survival demands release. You could tell them your reasons. Spell it out. Walk them through your heart like it's a courtroom exhibit, hoping they'll understand. But they won't. Not because you're unclear, but because they're not really listening. They're just waiting for a crack, a flaw, something to use. And every explanation becomes a thread they pull, unraveling you a little more each time. The need to explain yourself comes from a place of fear. Fear of being misjudged, misunderstood, unseen. But here's the truth. People who already respect you don't need explanations. And those who don't? No explanation will ever be enough. Some people enter a room and shift the air without saying a word. It's not because they're louder or prettier or trying harder. It's because they're whole. They carry themselves like they don't need to be chosen. They've already chosen themselves. That's presence. And it speaks before your mouth ever opens. You don't need to announce your worth. You don't need to fight for space. True power isn't in how much you say. It's in how deeply you're felt. People remember how you made them feel long after they forget what you said. And when you walk in anchored, not begging, when your silence is rooted, not empty, it draws people in. You don't need to post about your boundaries, preach them, or explain them like a rule book. You just live them. Quietly, consistently. The way you stop replying to chaos, the way you no longer rush to defend yourself, the way you walk away not to punish, but to protect your peace, that's a boundary. People feel it when you've changed. They sense the shift when their old tricks stop working, when their manipulation meets your stillness. And the beauty is, you don't have to warn them. The absence of your reaction becomes the message. Not everything needs a reaction. Not every comment deserves your energy. Growth is when you stop fighting to be right and start choosing to be at peace. That's when something inside you shifts. You stop oversharing, stop correcting, stop explaining. You learn to pause, observe, and choose your words with care. That's not silence out of fear. That's discretion born from strength. Emotional maturity isn't about bottling things up. It's about filtering what's worth letting out. You're not hiding. You're protecting what's sacred. Your thoughts, your feelings, your time, they're no longer on display for everyone to poke and prod. They're yours now. You know who reacts to everything. The one who hasn't healed. The one still looking for validation in every conversation. But you? You've felt too much to keep bleeding every time someone pokes you. Now you hold your power quietly. And that quiet, it speaks volumes. People don't always hear your words, but they feel your absence. Loudly. When you stop showing up, stop replying right away, stop giving without pause, they notice. The silence echoes where your energy used to be. and suddenly what they took for granted starts to feel like a loss. You don't have to slam doors or announce your departure, just leave with grace. Withdraw your energy, not out of anger, but out of awareness. Not everyone deserves front row access to your heart. And when they realize you're no longer there to catch their chaos, to fix what they broke, or to fill the void, they'll feel it. Not because you vanished, but because your presence always mattered more than they realized. Let them sit in the space you once filled. Let the quiet remind them who you were. Your absence has weight, and when you learn to use it, you'll never need to prove your worth again. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You don't have to stay in spaces that drain you just because you once cared. Loyalty doesn't mean self-abandonment. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is walk away from someone you still love, or step back from a place you once prayed to be in, because now it costs you your peace. Detachment isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's finally seeing things as they are, not as you hoped they'd be. It's realizing that no matter how much you pour, some cups were never meant to hold you. It's like unplugging from a machine that's been draining your power while pretending to charge you. And yes, it hurts. Guilt tries to creep in, but remember this: you're not rejecting them, you're returning to yourself. You're not cold, you're healing. You're not heartless, you're finally listening to your own. You don't need to explain, you don't need to stay for appearances. You get to leave quietly, completely, and without guilt. Because your peace is reason enough. You've been giving the most sacred parts of yourself to people who never earned the right to hold them. You let them see your fears, your dreams, your softest truths, hoping they'd protect them. But not everyone knows what to do with the full weight of who you are. Some people only want the version of you that benefits them. The easy version, the version that doesn't ask too much. So stop handing yourself over in pieces. You are not a free sample. You are not a story everyone gets to read cover to cover. The deepest parts of you, your thoughts, your love, your peace, those are privileges, not entitlements. Let people earn access. Let them prove they can hold space without dropping you. And if they can't, they don't get the full you, they get the silence, the boundary, the locked door. Because what's rare isn't meant to be reachable by everyone, only the worthy. They expect noise from you, a reaction, a defense, an explanation. That's how they've learned to stay in control, by pulling you into chaos and watching you spin. But when you stop responding the way you used to, when you meet drama with calm and pressure with pause, something shifts. They start to realize they can't move you anymore. Stillness isn't weakness, it's power under control. It's presence that doesn't need to prove itself. And it unsettles people because it forces them to confront their own noise. When you stop trying to win arguments, stop trying to fix what doesn't want to be fixed, stop showing up just to keep the peace, you become untouchable. You don't lose influence in the silence, you gain it. You're no longer someone they can provoke or pull. You're someone they have to approach with care. That's not just self-control, that's respect. And it's earned in your quiet. And at some point, you became who you needed to be to survive. Maybe it was the quiet one who never made waves, or the fixer, always smoothing over messes that weren't yours, or the performer, always smiling, always agreeable, always exhausted. That version of you kept you safe, got you through, but now it's suffocating you. The mask protected you, yes, but it also buried you. Buried your real voice, your real needs, your real power. And the truth is, you're not here to keep performing a role. You're here to live as you, raw, honest, and whole. Some people won't like the unmasked you. Let them leave. Their absence will only make space for those who love the real version. The one who doesn't filter her truth to be palatable. The one who's done shrinking It's not your job to fit in anymore. It's your time to finally come home to yourself. There was a time when your energy chased approval, attention, a sign you mattered. You reached out first. You over-explained. You waited by the phone, hoping they'd care enough to show up. That version of you believed love had to be earned, that being seen meant being useful, perfect, easy to love. But that chapter is over. Now your energy moves differently. It doesn't chase, it doesn't explain, it doesn't lower itself to be understood. It attracts, it stands still, it observes. You've learned that if someone needs you to beg, they're not your people. If someone only values you when you overextend, they never valued you at all. Change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now without delay. Your presence is no longer a plea, it's a choice. And the ones who feel it, the real ones, they'll know, they'll meet you with the same respect. Because your energy doesn't scream anymore. It whispers, I know my worth. And that whisper is powerful enough to change the room. There's a deep ache that comes from being misunderstood, like you're shouting from behind glass and no one hears you. You try to explain, to translate your soul into words, but it never lands right. So you question yourself? You shrink? You wonder if maybe your value depends on being seen clearly, like yelling into water. The words ripple, but they never really reach. But it doesn't. You are not less worthy just because someone can't read your depth. You're not a puzzle for them to solve or a mirror for their comfort. Your value doesn't rise and fall with their ability to get you. It just is, quiet, solid, immovable. If you're lonely when you're alone, you're in bad company. Some people will misjudge you, label you, reduce you. Let them. That's not your burden to carry. You weren't made to be understood by everyone. You were made to be true to yourself. The real ones won't need an explanation, they'll just feel it, and that's enough. You don't rush into rooms like you used to. You don't fill silence just to feel safe. You don't beg to be noticed, picked, or understood. You walk slower now, but with purpose. You say less, but it carries weight. And the people around you, they feel the difference. There's a steadiness in you that didn't exist before. A calm strength that comes from no longer needing the world's applause to feel real. You've stopped chasing things that crumble when you stop running. You've stopped apologizing for taking up space. Now you move like someone who's met themselves in the dark and decided to stay, like someone who doesn't need to be loud to be felt. You're not harder, you're clearer, you're not colder, you're rooted. The shift didn't come from outside, it came from within. And that shift, it changed everything, not just how you walk, but how the world moves around you. Some days you'll slip. You'll explain when you didn't need to. You'll react when silence would have been stronger. You'll shrink a little. Forget your worth for a moment. Feel the old pull to please. And that's okay. This isn't about being perfect. It's about returning. Returning to yourself again and again. Choosing peace when your ego wants to scream. Choosing boundaries when your heart wants to fix. Choosing stillness when chaos begs for your attention. It's a daily practice, 1,000 quiet choices you make when no one's watching. The power isn't in never falling, it's in the decision to rise differently each time, softer, stronger, clearer. Becoming unattainable doesn't mean you never feel pain, it means you stop letting pain dictate who you are. You lead now, even in the mess, even in the doubt. And that quiet discipline? That's what makes you unstoppable. You're not here to be available to everyone, you're here to be aligned with yourself. Every time you choose silence over reaction, boundaries over explanation, peace over performance, You reclaim a part of you that was never meant to be given away so freely. You are not cold, you are not distant, you are sovereign. So say it with me now, my silence is not absence, it's dominion. Let it echo, let it guide you, let it be the quiet fire behind your calm, because the world doesn't need another person trying to be understood. It needs more people who stand rooted in who they are, unshaken, unapologetic, unreachable. If this stirred something in you, if it reminded you of who you are beneath the noise, watch the next video on your screen. Keep walking this path. And remember, you're not alone. You're part of something deeper now. You're part of Mosaic Mind,